Many people have fatty liver disease and don't know it. They feel tired, experience heavy digestion, have high cholesterol or out-of-control blood sugar, and don't understand why. Today I want to help you identify whether what you're eating is truly supporting your liver health and which practical adjustments can make a real difference. I'm Dr. Gabriel Mena, and for years I've accompanied patients who come in worried because their test results don't improve despite eating healthy. I clearly remember a patient just over 50 who told me, "Doctor, I don't eat fried foods anymore, but my liver is still fatty." When we reviewed his diet and some key nutrients, he realized it wasn't just about removing foods, but about nourishing better. Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about holistic health, longevity, and natural, very simple habits that help you maintain physical, mental, and emotional balance. So take note and share this with your family and friends to help them improve their health. We upload new videos every day, so subscribe and activate notifications to receive all updates. Before continuing, if you find this content valuable, a simple gesture like liking the video or sharing it helps this message reach more people who need it. Thank you from the heart for being here and taking care of your health. Now let's get into the topic. Today we're going to do something very simple and very useful. We'll review clear points so you can assess for yourself whether, with what you eat every day, your liver is receiving the support it needs. In a way, this is a practical summary of the most important things I've taught about nutrition and metabolic health. If these habits are being applied correctly, you should begin to see improvements: better controlled fatty liver, cholesterol and triglycerides within appropriate ranges, more stable blood sugar levels, including HbA1c, and better regulated blood pressure. If any of these areas are not where they should be yet, today is a good time to reinforce them. I want to clarify something important. I'm not a fan of recommending supplements lightly. In fact, I rarely do. But today I'm going to talk to you about a nutrient I consider fundamental, especially when we talk about fatty liver, metabolism, and overall health as we age. It's a nutrient that doesn't depend on trends or fads, and whose deficiency can have serious consequences. Before continuing, if this information is helpful to you, I calmly invite you to subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs it, and activate notifications. That way YouTube will let you know every time we upload new content designed to care for your health in a clear and honest way. This nutrient we're going to talk about is not produced by vegetables or animal-based foods on their own. It's produced by bacteria and is absolutely necessary for the gut, blood, brain, and nervous system. It is vitamin B12. Throughout my clinical experience, I've seen many people with fatigue, neurological issues, anemia, or difficulty improving their fatty liver, and when we looked deeper, the issue was there: a vitamin B12 deficiency that no one had considered. There are different forms of vitamin B12, such as cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Later I'll explain which one to choose based on your situation. But I want you to be clear about something from the start. Over the years, especially after age 50, absorption of this vitamin becomes more difficult, particularly if you have gastritis, use antacids, have had digestive surgeries, or follow a diet low in animal-based foods. Vitamin B12 deficiency is not a minor issue. It can affect the nervous system, red blood cell production, and overall body function. That's why, when we talk about caring for fatty liver and metabolism, this point cannot be ignored. Later on, we'll review how to take it correctly, at what doses, and which mistakes to avoid so it's truly absorbed and does its job. If you have fatty liver, high cholesterol, or unstable blood sugar, one of the most common mistakes is not knowing which nutrients truly help and which make no real difference. Here I want to clear up doubts because when it comes to vitamins and foods, there's a lot of information circulating that confuses and unnecessarily scares people. I want to clarify something important about vitamin B12 because many people ask me whether it's dangerous, whether it causes weight gain, or whether it can lead to serious diseases. There have been observational studies that at one point suggested a possible relationship between high blood levels of vitamin B12 and certain types of cancer, such as lung cancer. However, when this was properly evaluated in controlled studies, with thousands of people supplementing for years at high doses, even up to 2,000 micrograms daily, it was shown that vitamin B12 does not increase the risk of developing cancer or dying from it. In clinical practice, it does not pose a danger when used appropriately. It's also common to hear that vitamin B12 causes weight gain or hair loss. There is no solid evidence to support that. Vitamin B12 does not cause weight gain on its own and is not directly associated with hair loss. Its main function is related to the nervous system, blood, and cellular metabolism. When it comes to dosage, I want this to be very clear and simple. The body can only use a limited amount. Even if you see supplements of 5,000 or even 10,000 micrograms, the body will absorb what it needs and the rest is excreted in the urine. In practical terms, the ideal goal is about 2,000 micrograms per week. I, for example, usually take a single weekly dose and that's it. Others prefer to divide it into several 500 microgram doses throughout the week. Both approaches are valid. Here's something key that I always emphasize. We're not talking about B-complex, combined injections, or supplements that include the entire family of B vitamins. I'm interested in one thing only, vitamin B12, nothing else. It's like a large family where you only need to speak to one specific person. In this case, that person is B12. Regarding the form of the vitamin, there are two common options, methylcobalamin and cyanocobalamin. If a person has kidney disease, methylcobalamin is usually the better option. If there are no kidney issues, either one works well. Both fulfill their function when used correctly. I've seen many patients who, despite changing their diet, fail to improve their fatty liver, energy levels, or mental clarity. I especially remember a 60-year-old woman who came in very frustrated because she felt weak, had tingling in her hands, and stagnant test results. When we reviewed her case, we found a clear vitamin B12 deficiency. We corrected that issue, and over time her progress was remarkable. That's why I insist so strongly, this nutrient is non-negotiable. Now, once the topic of vitamin B12 is clear, we move on to the next fundamental pillar of nutrition. I want you to pay close attention here, because this has a direct impact on fatty liver, blood sugar, and triglycerides. If I had to choose a single food group as the base, the backbone of daily nutrition, without hesitation I would say legumes. Beans, lentils, chickpeas, peas, split peas, soy, edamame. These should be present every day. Legumes are not just another side dish. They are the center of the plate. They provide high-quality protein, fiber, iron, magnesium, zinc, and calcium. They also contain something very important, resistant starch. This type of starch helps prevent sharp spikes in blood sugar after meals, which is key when there is fatty liver or insulin resistance. Many people are afraid of flour-based foods, but the real problem isn't flour itself, it's flour without fiber. Legumes are starch combined with fiber, protein, and essential amino acids. That's why they not only don't cause harm, but actually protect metabolism and can, in many cases, perfectly replace meat. The body doesn't think in terms of meat or vegetables. The body thinks in terms of building blocks. It needs amino acids to build muscle, tissues, and enzymes. And those building blocks are present in legumes. Unless a person eats only fruits and vegetables, when legumes are used properly there is no protein deficiency. Ideally, you should consume about 1.5 cups of legumes per day. If you eat them at lunch, that's perfect. If you also include them at breakfast or dinner, even better. A very useful strategy is to cook them in larger batches, store them in the refrigerator, and eat them throughout the week. When they cool, resistant starch increases, and the metabolic benefit is even greater. Now, I know many of you tell me, "Doctor, legumes make me bloated and cause gas." This usually happens when the gut is not accustomed to a high fiber load. At first, the intestinal microbiota adapts and produces gas. This should decrease after 2 or 3 weeks of regular consumption. If it doesn't, there's a simple solution. Soak the legumes well, preferably in water with a little baking soda, discard that water, cook them properly, and then refrigerate them. This makes them much easier to digest. So far, we have 2 clear pillars, vitamin B12 and legumes as a daily foundation. Now let's move on to the third element, equally important and absolutely essential, vegetables and greens. Here I want to be very direct with you. Not eating vegetables is more dangerous than not eating meat. And I say this with full medical responsibility. Vegetables should be present at every meal, in different colors and prepared in different ways: raw, sautéed, steamed, or blanched. The technique doesn't matter. The important thing is that they are there. Why are they so important? Because the body produces energy constantly. That energy is generated inside the cells, in structures called mitochondria. When energy is produced, toxic waste products called free radicals are also generated. If these are not neutralized, they damage cells and promote diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and hypertension. The antioxidants that neutralize these wastes do not come from miracle pills or trendy supplements. They come from vegetables. They work inside the cells thanks to the nutrients provided by vegetables. That's why stopping the consumption of vegetables comes at a very high cost to health. Any vegetable counts: leafy greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, celery, broccoli, cabbage, beets, radishes, tubers like cassava or sweet potato. All of them provide something valuable. Many even contain more calcium than people imagine. So, to summarize up to this point, you now have 3 clear foundations to improve fatty liver and overall health: sufficient vitamin B12, legumes as the central element of the plate, and vegetables at every meal. In the next segment, we'll continue building the complete plate in a practical way, so you know exactly how to apply all of this in your daily life without complications. If you're dealing with fatty liver, high cholesterol, constant fatigue, or heavy digestion, I want you to know something important. All of this can begin to improve when you learn to use food as a daily tool. And today, we're closing this topic by showing you how to build your plate in a practical, simple, and realistic way to care for your liver and your overall health. When we talk about carbohydrates on the plate, many people think they should be avoided, but that's not true. What I do recommend is choosing them wisely. For example, tubers such as sweet potato, yam, or boniato are an excellent option. I usually suggest preparing these foods ahead of time, ideally the night before, and letting them cool. When you do this, part of their starch turns into resistant starch, which helps control blood sugar, triglycerides, and also benefits fatty liver. This is not theory. I've seen it many times in my practice. I remember a patient around 55 years old, very similar to many of you, who came in worried about his fatty liver and cholesterol. He didn't want to live on a diet. We simply adjusted the type of carbohydrates, incorporated legumes, vegetables, and properly prepared tubers. Within a few months, his lab results began to improve, and most importantly, he felt more energy and less inflammation. That's what we're looking for: changes that can be sustained. We continue building the plate. As we said, half of it should be made up of varied vegetables, different colors, raw or cooked, whatever you tolerate best. 1/4 is occupied by legumes, which are the base of plant protein: lentils, beans, chickpeas, soy, edamame. And the other 1/4 corresponds to whole, natural carbohydrates such as sweet potato, quinoa, brown rice, or oats in their simplest form. But there's something else that should not be missing, even in small amounts, as a complement: sprouts or microgreens. Lentil, alfalfa, or soy sprouts concentrate vitamins and minerals in a remarkable way. They're like a nutritional boost that brings the plate to life and supports many processes in the body. We also talked about calcium, a topic that causes a lot of confusion. Many people believe it's found only in milk and dairy products, but the reality is that vegetables such as broccoli, kale, spinach, sesame seeds, legumes, and some nuts provide calcium that is very well absorbed. In fact, there are studies showing that people who base their calcium intake on these foods have a lower risk of fractures than those who rely exclusively on dairy. That's why I insist so much on returning to what is simple and natural. If we do a final review, the pillars we covered today that are non-negotiable are: vitamin B12 at the appropriate weekly dose, legumes as the foundation of the diet, abundant vegetables at every meal, well-chosen whole carbohydrates, and plant-based sources of calcium. This combination helps not only fatty liver, but also cholesterol, blood sugar, blood pressure, and overall metabolic health. Before we finish, I want to make a special pause. Beyond food and knowledge, never forget to be grateful. Be grateful to God for life, for one more day, for the opportunity to learn and to take better care of your body. Knowledge is also a gift, and using it wisely is a way of honoring the life we've been given. Take a moment today to say thank you from the heart. And if this content has been helpful to you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, share this video with someone who needs it, and leave your comment. Every day we upload new videos designed especially to help you improve your health in a practical and approachable way. Your support helps this information reach many more people. On this channel, Dr. Gabriel, Mena, and our team are truly happy to accompany you, contribute to your well-being, and help you build habits that truly make a difference. Tomorrow, a new video will be waiting for you with more simple ideas to take care of your health. Thank you for being here, thank you for trusting, and remember that you are not alone on this journey. See you very soon.